Michelle's microphone. This is Michelle's microphone. This is Michelle's microphone. Checking. Keep talking? Okay, Oh, okay. Means ready to roll. Till it doesn't. Good morning. No, I sang good morning to you, so I'm going to sing good morning, and y'all sing good morning, okay? Good morning. Isn't that fun? Thank you. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Reverend Michelle Buheit, and my pronouns are she and her. We are so glad to have you in the service, whether that's here in our building or online. Together we create a multi-generational beloved community. Today's services will be a little bit different, have a different shape and flow. There is a distinct lack of pulpit and a distinct addition of tree. So in case you hadn't noticed that we're on a different roll, you can just sort of sit back and relax and know that this will unfold and you'll not have a clue what's next. Isn't that fun? Yes, it is. Today we are honoring the turning of the wheel of the year and the Winter Solstice with story, song, and ritual. As Unitarian Universalists, we are people of the wide path, recognizing and honoring the many ways that we find ultimate meaning in our lives. Even as we prepare to celebrate the Christian Holy Day, honoring the birth of the Christ child, we pause today to turn into the rhythms of the earth. Turn in to the rhythms of the earth. Even saying it is sort of circular, and so I want you to feel that beginning flow. We're going to take wisdom from ancient and emerging traditions. I invite you all to participate as fully as you are comfortable. Now, as you came in, you should have received an envelope and, all right, I'm seeing a lot of, wait, what? So Elaine is going to, if you'll raise your hand, you will receive an envelope. Look at it. How did you all sneak past the ushers? You are very, very sly people. Yeah, if you each take a handful of each, then keep your hands raised until you receive both items, a pen and an envelope. Everybody should have one of each. Okay, so we have, yep, she's coming up around your side over there. Okay, and these people all need envelopes. Uh-oh, Mr. Microphone. So yes, Elaine's coming around. Okay, people who still need pens, raise your hands over here, and Elaine will take care of those needs. For those of you worshiping at home, this is a time for you to get a pen and paper, and also a couple of candles and some matches, or little electric tea lights, whatever you use for bright lights at this time of year. So those of you in the chapel, the pens are our gift to you. You'll notice they are promotional pens. Happy Solstice. If you need pens, raise your hands. Elaine's right there. My, oh my. Luckily, we are not only people of a wide path, we are people of great flexibility. So we will have a bit of a musical interlude that will begin as soon as I remember to push the button. How about that? Each of us carries with us into this worship space cares and concerns, joys and sorrows. Perhaps there is someone on your heart. Together, we create the container where we can put down our burdens, knowing that they are held gently by this gathered community. For those in the chapel, I invite you to come forward and place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth as a symbol of putting your burden down. For those worshiping at home, you might speak the names and concerns or perhaps type them into the chat in the live stream. Now is the time to bring your whole self to the circle of love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love, and we can rest in that love.
For a moment, the typewriters will stop clicking. The wheels stop rolling. The computers desist from computing. And a hush will fall over the city. For an instant in the stillness, the chiming of the celestial spheres will be heard as Earth hangs poised in the crystalline darkness, and then gracefully tilts. Let there be a season when holiness is heard, and the splendor of living is revealed. Stunned to stillness by beauty, we remember who we are and why we are here. There are inexplicable mysteries. We are not alone. In the universe, there moves a wild one whose gestures alter Earth's axis toward love. In the immense darkness, everything spins with joy. The cosmos enfolds us. We are caught in a web of stars, cradled in a swaying embrace, rocked by the holy night, babes of the universe. Let this be the time we wake to life, like spring wakes in the moment of winter solstice.
Good morning. My name is Angela Warren, and I'm the Director of Faith Development for this congregation. We begin our time together by lighting the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. If you're participating at home, you may wish to light your own chalice or candle. High above us, the sun shines. Below our feet, the earth still simmers with its first fire. Somewhere between the stars and the earth's core, we live and weep, we ask and laugh and answer. We light our chalice in amazement at such wonders abounding.
Can you still hear it ringing? It's wonderful. For the beauty of the earth, this spinning blue-green ball, yes. Gaia, mother of everything, we walk gently across your back to come together again in this place, to remember how we can live, to remember who we are, to create how we will be. Gaia, our home, the lap in which we live, welcomes us.
Gaia, our home, welcomes us. Everyone, take a moment and look out the windows to the left side of the chapel. Those of you at home, look out a window at whatever natural elements you see framed there. See the activity of squirrels and birds, the movement of trees, the sun. Did you just see that? Yeah. Our church is built on 11 acres of land. Approximately half of that has been left undeveloped. Our long, narrow property is a green oasis in the midst of human-made structures, housing developments, businesses, and most recently a car wash down the street with a giant Barney purple light. Our land is home to wildlife, foxes, deer, bunnies, and groundhogs. For many years, the land behind the parking lot was mostly ignored. A few walking trails were kept up, but few people took advantage of them. On and off, interest from developers kept the question of keeping or selling an ongoing conversation. And then a couple of years ago, we began to love the land. Bonfires were held, labyrinths were built, and invasive species that had choked and hidden huge rocks were cleared. We brought in goats to help with the clearing and to demonstrate the benefits of green alternatives. And with each project, we loved the land more. This year, in addition to planting flowers, we planted food. Strawberries, tomatoes, tomatillos, beets, carrots, radishes, potatoes, all organic. We planted and tended and harvested and shared together. We discovered the gift of reciprocity, that as we loved the land loved us back. And it wasn't only plants that grew. Friendships and laughter grew. Gaia, our home, the lap in which we live, welcomed us. To borrow the words of Robin Wall Kimmerer, author of Braiding Sweetgrass, we are becoming native to place. This land that we love, this land that we are learning to love once belonged to others who were and are native to this place. The care and stewardship of the Neutrals and the Haudenosaunee nurtured the land and made it possible for us, relative newcomers, to learn how to become native to place. Place matters. Gaia, mother of everything, we walk gently across your back to come together again in this place, to remember how we can live, to remember who we are, to create who we will be.
So as we celebrate the winter solstice, we are honoring and recognizing one of the spokes in the wheel of the year. The wheel of the year is a construct that divides the time, the seasons, into quarter days and cross-quarter days. So the quarter days are the solstices and the equinoxes. Those points, the longest day, the longest night, and halfway between those, the balance of light and dark. We live in a mostly temperate place. Sometimes it can feel a bit extreme, but we have those moments of balance. So we are at the point of Yule, at the top of the wheel of the year. This particular understanding of the wheel of the year is a Celtic construct, and it follows the seasons, and it follows the light. So at Yule, which is the winter solstice, the longest night of the year, imagine living in a place and at a time when humanity didn't understand how the cycles could possibly work without their input, without recognizing and sort of pushing nature. Okay, it's the longest night, things are getting scary, it's getting colder and colder. Will our food last? We must do something to make sure the light is reborn. And then the light grows, and each of these points on the wheel of the year are about 6 to 7 weeks apart. So they are fairly regular. At Imbolc, that's the growing light. At winter solstice, the rebirth of the light is still kind of just a matter of faith. It is the longest night, but we're really hoping that tomorrow night's not even longer. But you can start to recognize the shift in things by Imbolc. By Ostara, that's the vernal equinox, night and day are about equal. And the earth is really and truly waking up again from winter slumber. Beltane, May 1st. It's truly the beginning of, okay, summer is actually going to happen. We were wondering in February, it was looking kind of iffy, but we can see that the wheel continues to turn. And it continues through Litha, which is the summer solstice, Lugnazda, which is August 1st, the first harvest, second harvest at Mabon, the equinox, and Samhain, the final harvest, and the recognition that all of life is slowing down and dying to be reborn as the cycle continues. So I use the language of the wheel of the year all the time, but I felt like it was really important that you have a sense of what on earth is she talking about when I refer to these points on the wheel. And so at this time of Yule, of winter solstice, we turn the wheel. We acknowledge the time of the season, which is slower, colder, changing, not as noticeable changes as we had in the autumn. Autumn is a pretty exciting change. Now it just seems like it's gray and gets slightly less gray. But that's okay, because the wheel turns. And we, by participating in that, place ourselves right at the center of our own lives. This is not putting us into the center of something foreign. This is actually pulling us into the reality of what is happening in our earth. And so, the wheel of the year. One of the ways that we celebrate the changing earth is by acknowledging the heartbeat of the mother, the great Mother Earth. And so we make space to acknowledge that heartbeat. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us. Gray the windy storms, gray the windy storms. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us. Gray the windy storms, cold upon our cheeks, the wet rain glistens, glistens. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us. Leaping is the fire, golden in the glass, the cider glows like amber. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us.
John Matthews writes in his book, The Winter Solstice, "Many things happen to us and to the world in which we live as the solstice approaches. The days grow shorter, there is less light, the winter is cold, which tends to make us stay indoors more often. The trees become bare and show their skeletons. The bones of the land show through their tattered coat, and we ourselves put on more clothes, looking for colors to tone with the light, the season, and the weather. The solstice is a time of quietude, of firelight and dreaming, when seeds germinate in the cold earth and the cold notes of church bells mingle with the chimes of icicles. Rivers are stilled and the land lies waiting beneath a coverlet of snow. We watch the cold sunlight and bright stars, maybe go for walks in the quiet land. All around us, the season seems to reach a standstill, a point of repose. Then, as the solstice sun moves across the heavens, the new year wakens, the darkness is dispelled, the days grow longer, and we prepare for new beginnings.
When you think about the third week of December, is your mind filled with peaceful images of cozy darkness, quiet, and reflection? Or are you more apt to think of bright lights, the sound of carols, and bustling activity, and not nearly enough time to get all the things done? All around us, the earth is showing us the way to balance our lives, when to be active, and when to release, rest, and renew. Although the winter solstice is considered one of the major quarter days of the wheel of the year, the solstices and the equinoxes, it is more truly a time between. It is a pause between the final harvest and the waning light of Samhain, or All Hallows, and the first lighted Imbolc in early February. The solstice is meant to be a time of rest between the labors of harvest and planting, a time which may include celebration, but is not swept up in manic activity. The solstice is an interstice, an intervening space, if only a very small one. We must be mindful not to crowd out this gift of quiet and rest with the restlessness of the holidays. Today we honor the solstice with our whole selves. We share the ancient and emerging story of release and renewal, of surrender and hope. We begin at the beginning of all things with that which creates and sustains us, our Great Mother. From our great mother has all creation come, the universe and all its splendor, its ebb and its flow, its darkness and its light. The earth and all which grows in it, crawls on it, and that which swims in the sea and flies in the air. And when all her creation had gone forth from her, each containing the double spiral of life, our great mother was delighted, and she longed for a child. So alone and whole unto herself in great pleasure she conceived her son. And as darkness descended on the earth in its longest night, did she give birth to him, without pain, but with the same pleasure in which she conceived him. And such was her joy at his birth, that a peace broke from the hottest star, and its brightness streaked the sky like daylight. And after she had washed the red of his birthing from him with seawater, our great mother took her son and wrapped him in the green of the forest and said, "Behold my son, who shall be called Love. Through him shall the light of the eternal Spirit shine forth, that the peoples of earth may know hope." And so began the cycle of the seasons. And he who was born of her was nurtured by her and grew to be the Father. And he who grew to be the Father died with the dying of the seasons. Yet at the solstice does she once again give him birth. And thus does our great mother speak to us once more. "Behold my son, who shall be called Love. Each winter let the birth and rebirth of love be celebrated by all who love me." We honor our great mother who has given us her son to lead us from birth to death to rebirth. For behold, through love are we reborn. We have placed in our midst an evergreen. From time immemorial, the tree has been a symbol of our great mother. Now, when the earth seems barren, we honor this symbol of enduring fertility and life. Ancient and emerging stories and symbols, uncovering traditions that, if not forgotten, well and truly buried or redressed in holiday finery. We have remembered the elements of celebration, of new life and light in a weary world. What we have forgotten or pushed aside is the balance of dark and light, the release that must happen before renewal. In the Book of Runes, Ralph Blum writes of the rune Kano, which represents opening and fire, the necessity of giving up gladly the old and being prepared to live for a time empty, to develop inner stability and not be seduced by the momentum of old ways while waiting for the new ways to become illuminated in its proper time. That sounds to me like an interstice, an intervening space awaiting illumination. That sounds to me like solstice.
In the Book of Awakening, Mark Nepo writes of the gift of shedding, reminding us that from the very beginning, the key to renewal has been the casting off of old skin. He writes, "It's interesting that the earliest peoples believed in something that we, in our modern hive of manufacturing, have forgotten, that immortality is attainable by shedding. The Duasuns of North Borneo have believed for centuries that when God finished creating the world, he announced that whoever is able to cast off his skin shall not die. But what does this mean? Not that we can live forever, but that the way to stay closest to the pulse of life, the way to stay in the presence of that divine reality which informs everything, is to be willing to change. Still, change what? To change whatever has ceased to function within us. To shed whatever we are carrying that is no longer alive. To cast off our dead skin because dead skin can't feel. Dead eyes can't see. Dead ears can't hear. And without feeling, there is no chance of wholeness. And wholeness remains our best chance to survive the pain of breaking. Continuing, of course, for human beings, dead skin takes many forms, the most significant of which remain intangible but suffocating, such as a dead way of thinking, a dead way of seeing, a dead way of relating, a dead way of believing, or a dead way of experiencing. In essence, shedding opens us to self-transformation. The fact is that shedding, no matter how useful or inevitable, always has a pain of its own. Often we give up our right to renewal to accommodate the anxiety of those around us. And here's a story that comes from the Melanesians of the New Hebrides. At first, it seems that human beings never died, but cast their skins like snakes and crabs and came out with youth renewed. But after a time, a woman growing old went to a stream to change her skin. According to some, she was Alta Marama, change skin of the world. She threw her old skin in the water and observed that as it floated, it caught on a stick. Then she went home where she had left her child. But the child refused to recognize her, crying that its mother was an old woman, not this young stranger. So to pacify the child, she went after her old skin and put it on. And from that time, human beings ceased to cast their skins and died. And so when we cease to shed what's dead in us in order to soothe the fear of others, we remain partial. When we cease to surface our most sensitive skin simply to avoid conflict with others, we remove ourselves from all that is true. When we maintain ways we've already discarded just to placate the ignorance of those we love, we lose our access to what is eternal. And that is from the Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo.
Are you holding on to a skin, a form of yourself to avoid someone else's discomfort? Have you just been itching to remove layers of outmoded thoughts and habits and uncover the person you've been becoming? Are you craving renewal and wholeness? I invite you to consider what skin you are ready to shed. What habit or thought or way of being that you are ready to release to make room for renewal and transformation. In the envelope that you received, which at first when you open it will look like maybe it's empty, but it's not. It has a very small, very special piece of paper. For those of you participating at home, you will need paper and pen or pencil at this point. The next 3 minutes, while my friend Hal Walker plays some music on a very unusual instrument known as the can, we will have 3 minutes to consider what skins, what outmoded ways of being, what unhelpful thoughts you're ready to let go of. Now, I have great faith in you that you don't have very many, because I gave you a very small piece of paper. But you can write really, really small on it too. So during this meditation time, be thinking about what skins you're ready to let go of, what renewal you're willing to open a door to, and write or draw or just infuse your piece of paper with energy. And we'll be doing something with that in just a little bit. So this is Hal Walker in playing the can, and it's known as Low Key Glide. All of us have things, habits, disappointments, grudges, outdated promises that we need to recognize and release to bring peace to our hearts and to make room for more light and love. So even if you didn't write anything on your piece of paper, I hope that you will participate in the next portion of this solstice rite. The solstice is an interstice, an interval, an intervening space between the activities of harvest and planting. You might even call it a pregnant pause, full of possibility, a calling forth of the light and allowing it to grow in our hearts. This interstice is a significant one, so much more than a 2-day holiday or even the relentless holiday machine that has been in high gear for the past 6 weeks. The interstice between Samhain and Imbolc, the waning light, and the waxing light. That interval is nearly 14 weeks. We haven't blown it. It's not too late to engage in some quality reflection, release, and renewal. 7 weeks still stretch before us with all of their lovely possibilities. In the early days to come, we may not notice much change, either in the amount of daylight or in the dailiness of our lives. But by early February, it will be clear that a shift has occurred, potentially internally, but definitely externally. The light will grow. Our question today is, will the light within you grow as well? What seeds of possibility will you plant and tend? As our time together begins to draw to a close, we come to the most important part of our solstice rite, releasing that which has held us back, shedding that skin, planting seeds of new life and potential, and carrying with us the spark of hope that you will see through the days to come. So up here, up front, you will see that we have 3 distinct stations. Over here on the left, you will see that we have a bowl of water to receive that very special paper where you wrote what you are ready to release, the skin you are ready to shed. At the next station here, you'll find vessels with soil where you can plant seeds of intention, the light that you wish to see grow. We will nurture these seeds and monitor their growth as they find a home in the atrium adjacent to this space. And finally, at our 3rd station, which is at the piano, you will find bright lights of hope for you to carry home with you, knowing that your light adds to the brightness of our combined light. Now, for those of you participating at home, wish to light a second candle to represent your glowing light. For those of you at home, please do not burn your papers and set off your smoke alarms. You can simply rip your papers into little tiny pieces and dispose of them. But for those of you here in the chapel, magic will be happening over there at the water. If you happen to be seated next to someone that you think might have trouble coming to the front to be able to release their paper and participate, maybe you could offer to bring their paper forward and to take a light to them. All of this will work most smoothly. This is the theatrical director in me. If we all move to the back of the chapel and come down this aisle, and you'll do your paper in the water, and then you'll move to seeds. There are variations. Choose one and plant one. And planting is just poke it down into the dirt. You don't have to do anything major. No spades, no nothing. And then move to the lights, and then traveling back via this aisle so that in all of the pictures in my head, it flows beautifully. So help me to manifest that in this room. And while that is happening, we will listen to some music that is performed by the UUAmherst Music Ensemble, and it is entitled Peace on Earth. So come forward and we will try to direct traffic.
Peace on
I invite you to hold your lights as I offer a reading from poet Shalane Harkin. Here's the rule of the universe. If you like it, God likes it. If it makes you happy, it makes God happy. Your smile lifts the chin of the universe. The rise of your joy tickles existence. If it helps you grow, a new sprig of life shoots out from the collective. Your restorative tears that release your old collection of pain water the collective heart and grow flowers where the hurt was. Your truth makes deeper furrows into the grooves of reality for seeds of the new to root and flourish. Your liberation loosens every old chain. That doesn't mean we forget helping each other. It means we are part of each other and nourish each other best when we connect with what we truly love. There is one great soul that you are an essential part of. Do away with pleasing God and just let her laugh with you. Your sweetest prayer for humanity will be its ripple. So take your lights and let them shine. And remember this little spark of hope. That's what it is. And we'll keep track of all the other things you've planted. So thank you for joining us in worship today. I hope you've been inspired and uplifted by sharing this time. A reminder that you can support the work and mission of this church by leaving a financial gift in one of the baskets. We are also still doing our Share the Plate offering opportunity to support Buffalo United for Afghan evacuees, and that information is on the small table at the back of the chapel. So please join me as we extinguish our chalice with these familiar words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and until we are together again. And our closing music will be in a pagan vein as well. We will sing together behind our cute masks, God rest ye merry pagan folk. Okay, so I think I've got, yes, here we go. God rest ye merry pagan folk, let nothing you dismay. Remember that the sun returns upon this solstice day. The growing dark is ending now, and spring is on its way. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. The goddess rest ye merry too, and keep you safe from harm. Remember that we live within the circle of her arms, and may her love give years to come a very special charm. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. We do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who walk this way with us, so be swift to love and make haste to be kind. Go in peace.